Hi, so we're going to show you how to identify Hookbot C2 panels using URLScan. This time we're going to be using the free version. We should all be able to do this as part of the course, and if there are any pro features that are used for searching, I'll call that out just for anyone who does have a pro subscription. So first things first, we need to actually identify some Hookbot servers. So I'm going to use ThreatFox to do that. And we can use the tag Hookbot. So as you can see, we've got a number of results. If we take one of these domains, and just copy that URL and pop that into there. So just get rid of the slashes, okay, and there's some results here. So let's take a look at this bottom one. Again, from the image, we can see it's definitely a Hookbot panel, quite distinctive background image, as well as the title being a Hookbot panel. If we take a look at the HTTP transactions for this page, try and identify fingerprints that are quite unique or good enough to build a sort of formal search query. So you can see the hook.svg file would be a good one. Obviously, could be a bunch of phishing sites out there as well with a similarly named file. So in this case, we probably want to look for something else. My immediate attention's this connection out to socket.io, which could be quite interesting to look for. So I think if we first of all take that one and look to build another search. Oh, you were kidding me. So if we use the file name, field for that one, and then if we do another file name, if we use the path of the image file, so back to this one. So images hook svg. Just do a search on that one. So again, start to see more results here, almost 3,000, which is great. We can collapse those results. Still seeing a hell of a lot of Hookbot panels there from the past few months or longer. Looking on that one again, we can see it's looking pretty good as a rule. Let's check a couple of others. Again, yeah, so this rule is looking quite good for Hookbot. There's just a simple example how we can leverage the file name and some of the sort of image or file patterns that we've seen hosted on the pages to be able to create a rule to track those panels on an ongoing basis. So next example we're going to look at is a campaign in October 25 from a threat actor called Vanilla Tempest, who are also known as Vice Society and associated with the Resider ransomware as a service operation. These are impersonating domains and URLs that host fake software, which again, looking to deliver malware to victims that are knowingly trying to download Teams or other sort of common software products. As we can see here, we've got a domain to pivot off. And these patterns of domain share, quite common these days in terms of mimicking software companies and their products. So if we paste this into the here, it's not going to work because I haven't refanged it, but you see now this one has come up with some results. So for us to open that in another tab and take a look at it, we can see it looks like quite a convincing Teams download page. You can see how people could easily be tricked into visiting these sites. So I think first things first, again, we can check out the HTTP transactions page and look. I want to sort of show you, I mean, let's take a look at this file. We can see it's probably not good enough. Looks like there's a lot of legitimate Microsoft domains there, so probably not a good candidate for pivoting. In comparison, say, to some of the other files that could be hosted on this page. So, let's try this just on the off chance. So again, yeah, you can see we're starting to see other variants there with this quite unique file name potentially. Some of these are looking quite bad. So yeah, definitely that would be a good candidate. There's also this candidate there that seems to be familiar to this website. So if we look at the latest one again, let's check that and just check out Teams app. .bet potentially. Again, looking very similar. We'll look into this one here and see if we can see anything that's common across them. So we do see those. We also see this download script again. So in this one, the download script was 120.js. This one, 2. Don't know if there's any significance there in terms of like campaign, like variant 1, 2 to 120 or not, but that could be something worth looking at. And like what I'd want to show is like how to do a regex for this one on a component like that to see if we get any joy. So I'm actually going to click on that one again. Yeah, so we're only getting this so far, but I think if we were to look at creating a more of a pattern match on this, we might get a bit of joy across a lot of different websites. So let's see what we can do if we were to get rid of that right here and adjust that for a regex pattern instead. Let's have a look at that search. A search for that download script, but with a regex for the number to see if that's being used across multiple malicious pages as part of this Vanilla Tempest campaign. Yeah, it certainly takes a little bit longer to run in it, but as you can see, we've actually got quite a few results there, which is great. Not just the ones that we were looking at. So this would be a good query. If we do actually come back, we may have some other factors in here. So one thing we've not looked at, actually trying to look for, in the behavior tab, we can actually see there's some kind of global variables as well. These can be quite useful. In this case, we actually saw that this check URL availability function was quite unique. This is absolutely something, again, that can be used in a detection for these. So if we open up another tab and just try and search for that a second. So the query, I believe, is content global names. Global names. I think it might just be case sensitive again. So yeah, there we go. Actually, this one's looking quite promising because we're not just getting the Microsoft results, we're also getting results from other types of software products. So I think this content global name is definitely potentially a winner for some of the other sites that are out there. Again, would probably take some further refinement looking at some of the other JavaScript libraries, but I think this is definitely a really good candidate to start to look for some of the other malicious installers out there. These, again, may not all be Vanilla Tempest, so that's where actually using this download script in combination with something like that could, zero it down to a particular cluster of activity or smaller operation or campaign.